Woo! Woo! Happy pre-Halloween ghouls and ghosts and goblins and booze and uh booze. Booze and booze. Yeah, we'll go with that. Hi everybody, Starlight Aquamarina here, and tonight we are finally gonna be doing our special Halloween stream that I've been talking up for the last several weeks or so. Yeah, in case you missed the previous night's pre-Halloween stream where I was attempting to stream uh Harvest Island. It was a complete utter disaster, but let's just hope that it isn't a spoopy omen for things to come. I already have a lot of problems with spoopy crap this month, so let's actually try to get into this like right now. Like it's 9:20 over here. But yeah, in case I might actually end up having to go a little overtime since yeah, I kind of started a lot later than I originally wanted. So as you can see here, we're starting with the Witch's House MV specifically. So basically, the Witch's House MV is a more up to date version of the original The Witch's House game, which is actually free. But I'm playing specifically the MV version because I think it's actually good to actually have, especially because there's I think a little more new content. So yeah, let's hope we stay up till past midnight. So yeah, woo. Ack! Internet was acting like trash right now. Ooh, let's hope I'm having a lot of spooky crap happening of bad omens and whatnot and not so good vibes. There we go. Yeah, let's hope this whole thing that I've been hyping up for the last several days doesn't completely and utterly crash and burn in more ways than one. But hey, it couldn't be as bad as like OBS crashing at the end of the last night's stream, which was only like a half hour. But anyway, let's actually try to get started right now. Go away. No, go away. Go away. Let's see here. Stop that crap right now. There we go. I'm just gonna look through all of the little data here. Looking at the options here. Ugh! Ah! Ah! Damn it! The game crashed. Come on, man. Stop. I was just about to get the crap out of me. Is this what I get for planning ahead? Okay. Well then, let's actually try to figure out something else actually. Yeah, because I was actually trying to do Witch's House MV first, I actually kept running into problems where I kept having stupid, the type error things. I think it was a problem with RPG Maker titles. Okay, no need to panic. I can salvage this somehow. Yeah, I can salvage this somehow. Let's see here. We'll just switch. Let's actually switch over to the the second game, because if RPG Maker games are going to be uncooperative between Harvest Island taking 30 minutes to actually get through what I wanted and then just crashed, and then OBS just crashed, took an eternity and driving me up the damn wall, I can salvage this. I have 2 other games that I was going to be doing anyway, so maybe I can actually just do those instead. Mm-hmm. As I kind of feel like I always end up having to say every time I do a stream, it isn't a Starlight Aquamarina stream if something doesn't go horribly wrong. I just refresh the category here. Fuck. Ah. Hold on, let me let's see what. Hmm. I can again, I can salvage this, come on. Mm. Here, let me actually do some spooky things here. Yeah, I'm toggling all of my expressions for y'all, so you can actually get distracted. So you can actually look at spooky stuff. Alright. Don't mind me, I'm trying to switch categories because apparently you can actually do that on OBS. Spooky jump scare manual. My fingers can't type today. Ah! Ah! Spooky, scary skeletons. Wait, I actually figured out. Alright, I think I know how to fix this. I am trying to. Guys, I'm trying my. I am trying my best. I am trying my best. why do our I guess our why does RPG Maker games hate being streamed on my laptop? So while we're waiting for the thing for the stream info to refresh itself, because I kind of don't want to try to immediately jump into what was supposed to be the second game I'm streaming right now, but will now be the first. Um, if you're wondering what happened last night, if you missed it, yeah, so no, desktop capture it's not the problem. It's just that the game was just not would refuse to actually run normally. It just basically kind of just steamed, just crawled to an absolute halt on like the stream recording because I had a similar problem last night when I tried to stream Harvest Island, which is a fairly recent title. Yeah, it took like 30 minutes to get through the what is basically the very first dialogue sequence, basically the beginning scene of the game. It took forever. And so after having that happened, and with OBS crashing, when I tried to tap out of the game to try to, I don't know, maybe just fix something, I actually ended up, yeah, my laptop is a potato. So anyway, hi, Cider Man, yeah, Cider Man, yeah, yeah, a new chatter here, Cider Man, yeah, yeah. So, in case you don't know about the laptop, my laptop is a potato joke. It's kind of like my own little meme where I just comment about how my laptop is old. It is not a high grade gaming PC laptop extraordinaire. It is basically a pretty old laptop. I actually been using that to stream for quite a while now. And I call it a potato because, well, it's just kind of lags and it can't handle certain games. I know a lot of other VTubers, even indie ones like me, actually stream very powerful titles like Baldur's Gate 3, which is a pretty recent one that a lot of people have been streaming, and I think some people are still streaming Honkai Star Rail. I can't actually do that. One, my laptop doesn't have enough space, doesn't have all that space to incorporate Baldur's Gate 3 and all the things I like to have on my laptop, both what I want and what I need and on there. And and I can barely play Honkai Star Rail. Stardew Valley can actually process it just fine. I don't know if you checked out the YouTube channel yet, but I did a stream playthrough of This Way Madness Lies, which is an RPG game by Zeboyd Games, the same people behind Cosmic Star Heroine. And yeah, that game actually ran really well. As far as I can't 100% remember. Oh, right, Fate. In case you don't know what Fate is, it's a 2005 dungeon crawling RPG from 2005. The very first Fate game and all of its three sequels are on Steam. I think for the most part it ran it just fine. Again, my laptop is old and I have to make do with what I have because I don't have a second laptop for me to use as a second monitor or something. So I'm trying to salvage this so far crap show by switching over to the second game that I'm supposed to be streaming tonight, which is Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion, and just try to salvage this somehow. Steam, come on. Steam, what are you doing? Alright. So yeah, I think my issue right now is my laptop's not powerful enough to basically run RPG Maker games at the same time as running VTube Studio and OBS. So yeah, I think that's my problem now. That's the problem I have. and I really want to actually try to make this work because I am supposed to be streaming till midnight. That's my plan. That was the plan that I was been having for quite some time now. And also, the reason I think it might be because my laptop's not powerful enough to run an RPG Maker game, OBS and VTube Studio at the same time is because when I went back to try to play through the intro sequence to Harvest Island again, this time without anything else running in the background, it went completely smoothly. It went smoothly. It was basically smooth as butter, basically. I don't think I tried that yet. Also, if I were to try to run VTube Studio through my phone, I'm gonna probably likely need, like, I don't know, some kind of stand to plop my phone in, because we all don't like trying to plop our phone to our wall, or to our desk wall, to the wall our desk is basically sitting behind. So yeah, I'm trying to salvage this. Why not make a PNG tuber instead? I could do that. But that's not something in the cards right now. Because I'm actually working on. Yeah. I kind of made that comparison of a joke on my Twitter, on, what was it? People are calling it X now. I don't call it. I just split the difference and called Twitter X Twitter. Just split the difference. I actually made a comparison to if I try to stream Honkai Star Rail, my potato of a laptop will become a hot potato of a laptop. Yeah. Honestly, I actually also was actually streaming Pokemon Infinite Fusion since that basically was actually pretty popular. However, when the most recent update basically came out for that one, I don't know if there have been another one since then, my laptop just straight up could not run it anymore. It just couldn't. So I had to put that series on hiatus, unfortunately. uh, so yeah, one of my future goals is to eventually basically upgrade my laptop to a much better one, or at least try to get like something with a second monitor to run some games on it than others. I'm just waiting for Spooky. Witch's house. Why are you still running in the background? You're not on anymore. Just gonna check. Nope. Nope. Ugh. Whatever. I think it's fine. There we go. Alright, let's hope that this doesn't just decide it wants to stop working this time, because I swear to God, I am going to not only ah I refuse to give up on this. Let me play these damn games or die trying. Wait, how does that one line go? Give me liberty or give me death? No, wrong reference. No, wrong reference. Honestly, I probably should have just retitled this stream title as watch as this VTuber loses her sanity for 3 hours. How? Just gotta refresh it again. Ooh, I actually gotta make sure to check here. Just, brute force, and, yup! But hey, isn't that being part of what spooky season is all about? People occasionally losing their damn minds. Because it sure feels like it! I'm trying to improvise. Alright, just gonna take a quick swig of water here. Sorry if my mic picks up the audio. Oh, I got a train card. Gotta drink your water. Drink water. I call myself, what was that? Hi, I'm Droppy the Water Droplet. I'm here to tell you about water, nature's liquid. Or, life-giving water, nectar of the gods. I can feel my strength flowing right through me. God, ever since I heard that stupid quote of life-giving water, I just occasionally just quote it for no reason. It's not even the fact that I played King's Quest V. I'm not a masochist. It's just that I remembered watching a YouTube playthrough of someone playing through King's Quest V, and they are fully aware of that reference. So, which reference? Life. Ah! Well. Ah! Ah! Okay then. Okay. Well. We're gonna be in for something. Ooh. Also, I could be streaming this right now with no lights or minimal lights on. But I'm not gonna do that because I don't really want to mess with. I don't want to. I don't want to. Don't want to mess with my webcam because if I have no lights, have not a good light source, it's going to mess up the. It's gonna mess up the what little tracking I have for my model on VTube Studio. Can't have that now, can we? Anyway, what was the comment? Oh yeah, water, nectar of the gods. Yeah, the only reason I know the life-giving water, nectar of the gods quote is because I watched a YouTube playthrough of, like, that game, and it was really funny. The person in question, I don't know if I should actually mention this, but, and I don't know if it's a shameless, plug. Hold on, we got scroll text here. Hold on. For as long as you can remember, legends have been told about the derelict mansion upon the hill that casts a blanket of darkness over the town. The history of the house itself is virtually unknown, and even the town's oldest residents cannot remember the mansion's origins. Hold on, let me just turn it down a little. Being an avid history enthusiast, you embark up the mountain to visit the manor, hoping to shed some light on the backstory of this crumbling fortress of darkness. And I just click that here. Okay. Yep, spooky. Woo. Anyway, where was I? Oh, right. Okay, so I'm just going through the general settings here. I'm gonna switch on reduce flashing because I don't know how many of you in the audience is sensitive to flashing lights or are epileptic, and I don't know if reducing the flashing will fully help. Just turn this up a little, not to fracture my eardrums, but just in case the audio is too quiet. Showing game timer. I'm gonna turn off motion blur because that could be really nauseating. And also it might lag. What is head bob? What does head bob mean? I'm gonna turn that off. I don't know. English specimens on. Okay. So we got jump scares. The reason why this game is called Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion. Okay, so, I have a bit of a confession to make. I know jump scares are the cheapest form of ways to scare a person, but as you could probably, tell, not sure if you could tell from when that goddamn content warning background thing popped up and startled the crap out of me, I don't do well with jump scares. I don't do well with that crap. But if I straight up turn off jump scares, wouldn't that defeat the title of the game? I wanna put it up to you on the chat though. Should I have jump scares on? Honestly, I'm kind of glad that if I have lights on because, well, the main reason I have them on is because it might mess up the tracking on my webcam for V2 Studio. But also, I'm glad that I have it on for that because I'm pretty sure that I probably would not deal with this quite well. I don't know if I can click into options mid game, but I'll try. I'm gonna try to leave the jump scares on, much like how if I actually try to I don't know try to play a Skyrim or something. Ah! Okay, we're back. Thank God. I was actually kind of worried I would have to. I was worried that it would actually do that. Anyway, where was I? Oh, right. I'm gonna leave the jump scares. I'm gonna try to muster the courage to leave jump scares on. Because much like how whenever I try to play Skyrim, I try to play Skyrim. I specifically play Steam version. Whenever I try to play Skyrim on my own, I try not to have the mod that changes spiders into bears. I'm gonna try to muster up and try to conquer one of my phobias, or at least deal with it. I don't want to. I kind of feel like it's swish. Full screen. Target frame rate 60. I'm gonna probably have it at 30? What the hell is password? Come on. Alright, I'm actually gonna try to play the game with the jump scares on because crowd control allows Twitch viewers to influence the game while broadcasting. Note that crowd control is less effective in Karamari Hospital and the Dollhouse. Interesting, interesting. I'm not gonna do that though. I think I... Wait, hold on. Inputs. Niece? Alright, so we got Wassad. Wassad! Luau! Alright. On second thought, I'm a chicken! I admit it! I'm a chicken! Cluck! Cluck! I'm a dumb clucking chicken and I'm proud! I'm a chicken and I'm proud! No, I am not ugly and I'm proud. I am a chicken and I'm proud. Anyway, let's get this thing started. What do we got here? A mansion. A renovated version of the original jump scare mansion. That's gonna be where we're playing. Hello? Hello? Oh, we're here. Alright, I'm just gonna... Alright, I'm just gonna quickly test out mouse controls here. Okay, good. So if I wanted to not be a chicken and be proud, I can switch back to switch jump scares back on if I'm fine with that. Ah! Niece, stop! Hello? Hello? Oh, hello. Just gonna turn it down for my headphones so that my eardrums won't get ruptured. I really don't know. okay. What the crap am I looking at here? Where do I go? Okay, hold on. What did I had set for open? Oh. Should I try, right mouse? Guys, I'm trying to muster as much courage as you guys are right now. Oh, that's menu. I'm freezing right now. Hmm? Sorry, just testing out some of the... Ah! Nope! 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 Ah! Oh my god, I am a cow. Oh my god, I'm an absolute coward. You're not helping, Steam. I don't need your damn cards. Um. Isn't this fun? Isn't this fun? Look at me. Look at me. I think I'm probably gonna have to admit right now that I'm a coward. Okay then. Hmm. I can't wait to upload. I can't wait to upload this stream VOD later to the YouTube channel. instead of calling it what I actually call it on the Twitch stream, I'm basically gonna call this Starlight Aquamarina loses her mind and is a coward for like an hour. That being said, though, just yeah, stupid Steam Twitch recordings here. Just OBS is being annoying, so I have to go into the Twitch dashboard. There we go. Alright. If Witch's House MV basically didn't want to work with me, and I was too much of a chicken to actually make my way try to play through a bit more of Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion, I'm gonna actually try to do the third game that I have on the stream tonight. This is Halloween, pumpkin screaming in the dead of night. There we go. Okay, I need to warn this you guys right now. The third game that, well, I'm actually gonna try to attempt to play through is, I'm actually gonna try to actually play for more than, 2 minutes cap. 2 minutes max because I chickened out. It's a mature M-rated title, so if you're under 18, if you're under 18, don't actually stick around for this one. For the most part, my VTubing channel tries to actually be not PG-13. I think with the way I actually sometimes would just cuss or something. I don't drop hard cuss words though. So I try to be more, what would be the good decent equivalent? About a TV 14 rating, TV PG, TV 14. And I don't know how young my viewers tend to skew towards. But if you're under 18, don't watch this next part. This is an M-rated title called Darkwood, and I'm gonna try not to check it out. Or at least try to. Anyway. I am trying my best, you guys. I don't have nerves. I don't have nerves of steel. I don't have nerves of steel. Alright. Hello, Darkwood. I know you're booting up right now. Can you, I appreciate it if you would load a little faster. Maybe, don't give me The image that I get terrified by? Come on, game. Come on, game. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on. Come on, come on. Come on, come on. Come on, game. What imagery you're gonna have to throw at me to make me not want to actually stream it? Okay, what the crap am I looking at? Ooh, I'm looking around the tree. Ooh. Alright, what do we got here? Oh, right. What's a dynamic? Alright, this ensures this is across all. Is above 1080p. English off. I'm gonna have it light quality on low, post low. I'm gonna turn off dynamic resolution. Right. Play. New file. Oh, hold on. Indiegogo content? Alright. Forgiving mode, when dying you drop a part of your equipment. Normal. The forgiving mode, when dying, you drop a part of your equipment. Hard, unforgiving mode, you have a limited number of lives. After that, it's game over. And nightmare mode. The ultimate thrill, permadeath. I never played this one, so try really normal. Skip prologue. Don't skip if it's your first time playing this title. Indiegogo content. This option enables cool but immersion breaking content. Let's not have some Indiegogo content for now. Just find the button here. Alright, let's see if I can actually play more. Try to play a little. trying to breathe. Just trying to calm my nerves. I'm gonna try! Watch this. Hold on. You're playing a challenging and unforgiving game. You will not be led by the hand. Respect the woods. Be patient and focus. Oh no. Oh my, oh my God, my God, my God. What? What? How long have I been doing this for? It's 10:10 EST right now. Ah! Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me see if I just. All right. If you're wearing headphones or earbuds right now, I'm gonna basically, I don't know, probably do this. So if you're wearing headphones or earbuds, I'll give you a second to either mute your earbuds or take them out, or your headphones, or do any of that stuff. Okay? I'll give you a second, and I'll give you a sec while I drink water here. Oh, okay, y'all good? Did you get your earbuds or headphones removed? Okay. Ah! I can't wait to do the post editing for this. I don't know if I should consider this a mercy because I felt a big pit in my stomach during the load screen, or I should be upset that I did doth. Well, this is extremely awkward. I don't have any other horror games installed on Steam right now. Two of them are RPG Maker games, and they straight up probably can't handle well having streaming, VTubing, and all that stuff at the same time. I straight up chickened out of Spooky. Straight up chickened out in Room 2. And I couldn't do it even with the jump scares turned off. And Darkwood crashed. Yeah. I don't have any. I don't think I have anything else that I can think of right now. This is awkward. Really, really awkward. No, I need to try. I have to salvage this. I may not end up streaming for 3 hours like I actually planned, but I'm gonna try to freaking salvage this somehow. So, yeah, we're gonna just, what was it? Was it just chatting? Yeah, there we go. There we go. Alright, let me just refresh the stream info on OBS, because it'll bother me to high heaven if I don't have it correct. So, yeah. Well, after that absolute garbage trash show, I think we're just gonna straight up chat right now. I don't have a Spotify or have any kind of Spotify thingies. I'm trying to look into any potential, like, I don't know, YouTube friendly streaming things. So yeah. Well, I'm gonna try to keep it Halloween spooky content. Hashtag Halloween content or some nonsense. So, I could probably just talk about spooky stuff. Um, no, and if we're talking about spooky stuff, sorry, no audio. I need to figure out how Spotify I can get Spotify and how to get it to work. My big concern is trying to upload YouTube VODs to YouTube, where I run the risk of copyright claims or copyright strikes if it gets really bad. Ooh, that's fun! That is so much fun! Anyway, try to avoid the monotony. Spooky stuff. So what are you guys doing what are you peeps doing for Halloween? I actually was thinking of streaming Little Goody Two Shoes, a new game that's going to be coming out on Halloween itself. But I believe if I remember some of the stuff I saw for Little Goody Two Shoes, it's an RPG Maker game, and based on my 2 strike track record of trying to stream an RPG Maker game so far, I don't think I can do that now. So yeah, I might just straight up play a few hours, a couple bit of it of the game when it comes out. Eyed off. Anyway, however, it seems that since when I was looking through my Steam wish list yesterday, I had it set to show discounts or sales, I noticed that when I was scrolling through some of the ones that I was actually adding to the wishes, I noticed that one of the rare horror games that I actually have played through and I actually had the courage to play through is actually not only on Steam but on sale. That's Alice Madness Returns. And it's currently $2.99 right now on Steam, not counting tax, depending on where you actually live somewhere on this green and blue planet you guys called Earth. Oh, well, why do I actually need to mention... I don't need to mention my the lore stuff right into my background and lore stuff that's not relevant to the topic at hand. So anyway, yeah, Alice Madness Returns. It's one of the rare horror games that I actually played through. That I've actually had the courage to play through. I think I actually kind of gradually realized that I think I have a particular my particular taste in horror kind of probably would more fall in line with what Alice Madness Returns had to plate. I also, and it's actually worth pointing out though, I actually have the original PS3 version of Alice Madness Returns. You know, that old one. If you had a new copy of it, it came with a little thing for American McGee's Alice, which is the very first game. And it's essentially feels like a PC to PS3 like transition. I actually played through American McGee's Alice for October one year, during an October 1 year, because I wanted to actually play through it. I did quite enjoy it. And it actually I actually quite enjoy it. I will say though, there are several points in the PS3 version of American McGee's Alice that did not translate well to the PS3. I have some very particular stories about American McGee's Alice though. I don't know if some of you guys have the same stories that I did, either because some of you haven't played American McGee's Alice, or rather its PS3 version, or you straight up never heard of it. Let me tell you this though. There was one boss in the game is against the Mad Hatter, and well, he's not a too difficult boss. I actually managed to take him out and he was doing his boss dying animation. However, my movement controls locked up as he was dying, and I walked off the side of the arena down the bottomless pit to my death. And how did I know that he was doing his dying animation, because when I had to do the fight again and he was doing that same animation and my character movement didn't get locked, it actually was doing that animation. So I was unbelievably salty because, yeah, that happened. Honestly, I actually assumed it was something wrong with my controller since just can't clear my throat a little. I actually thought it was just a problem with this stupid controller that I was using. It may have, because it's an old controller, an old PS3 controller. I've had that thing. It was actually more specifically a Rock Candy PS3 controller, because the PS3 controller that came with the PS3 was broken. Basically, to put it in a nutshell, how long I've had that console for, it was actually a birthday gift for my brother, and I think it was like what when he was like what 17, I think, and it was like a long time ago, like a really long time ago, in fact. I think he got that PS3 the same year the original Red Dead Redemption came out, which I can't remember the year that title came out. Was it 2011? I know that Red Dead Redemption came out the same year when we got the PS3. I actually know that for a fact. And yeah, we basically took to calling it Old Reliable because because he and I had to share some of our consoles growing up. Uh, and even then, on occasion, because consoles are so damn expensive, we basically end up sharing some of our consoles too, because consoles are really expensive. As I literally just said like 5 seconds ago. We basically share consoles. Most of the time, though, most of the time he's not a handheld game player. Those are kind of more of my thing, more of a me thing. So yeah, we call our PS3. Some nicknamed our old ass PS3 Old Reliable, because well, whenever we wanted to watch a movie that we only had the Blu-ray disc for, it was much easier putting it in our PS3 than it is on our PS4, because our PS4 had this weird, I guess, some kind of factory manufacturing error or something, where it just straight up would not suck the disc in, or it would suck the disc in but not read it or not go all the way. We have to basically, whenever we want to switch discs around, whether it be Blu-ray disc or PS4 games, we have to pull the part of the lid off. There's little mechanics in there, and just pull the little thing there slightly, get a screwdriver and turn it around, turn it in one direction to pull the disc out, and in an opposite direction to pull another one in. And we have to do this every single time with the PS4. And once again, consoles are expensive. We could not actually get another console. Though I do have aspirations to basically get my own my own goddamn consoles, so that I don't have to share anymore. Especially because space on our PS4 is something that me and him would usually have to basically compromise on. My brother and I are kind of like more or less amicable with our console space, our PS4's like game storage space. And no, for years we didn't think to actually get a SSD drive for our console, although I kind of brought that up. Again, even then, that's not cheap. The cheapest one we can actually get is like what, $75, and because PS5s are all the rage right now, I think they're gonna eventually stop producing these things and they'll go out of stock, and then it'll be impossible to find anymore. But and also, before some of you people probably are going to ask, no, we don't own a PS5 yet. That's something we've been wanting. That's something we are trying to actually eventually get our hands on. Especially because I, in particular, have some very specific. There's some particular games that I want to get on our that are going to be releasing on the PS5. One of those being Granblue Fantasy Relink. because I've been waiting for that damn game to come out for years now, and I am going to get that as my first PS5 game. After that non-relevant tangent is now done, because it seems that if I go on a tangent, I never stop with tangents. Like it's a constant stream of rambling thoughts in my head. I just ramble and ramble. Rabble. Anyway, back to the top relevant topic at hand. What was it again? Oh, right, Alice. I somehow lost track of the topic at hand. Anyway, so, with Alice, yeah, the Mad Hatter fight was kind of hilarious, because in American McGee's Alice, the point I'm making is our old PS3, the PS3 controller that came with our old PS3 was actually more or less broken. Actually got broken, or eventually got worn out to the point of being broken. We bought this Rock Candy brand PS3 controller. That's what we've been using for years, and even then, it's starting to wear out. And I actually initially thought, when my movement controls got locked up a few times, there's several points where my movements get locked up, and I either had to course correct to keep myself from getting in damaged or something, or I wasn't able to, and I slipped onto a bottomless pit to my death. I actually originally thought it was because, well, the Rock Candy control needs batteries to run. I thought it was because the batteries in the controller are worn out and dying, so I swapped them out with some brand new fresh batteries that were in a fresh Bachman card packet of batteries. I stuck those bad boys in, went to play, and then at some point the movement still locked up, and I walked to my death. And yeah, that's when I realized that it wasn't a problem with my controller, most likely. It wasn't a problem with the control batteries not being all worn out and stuff. I thought it was actually a problem with the controller itself, but now that I thought about it for years, I think it was probably because the movement controls in American McGee's Alice, when translated from PC, since it was a PC game originally, to PS3 with the release, with that whole promotion thingy for Alice Madness Returns back in the day. I think it's because the PS3 did the transition that did not really work well with all the mechanics. So, yeah. I think there being instances where the movements just get locked up. Yeah, I think that would end up being more of a problem with the transition than anything on my end. However, the Mad Hatter fight only took like 2 attempts because, well, the first attempt ended with me walking to my death as he was doing his dying animation, but I digress. No. The second memorable instance was basically the main boss fight against the Jabberwocky. Honestly, that boss fight kind of drove me absolutely insane. Like, I was getting cheesed off more and more. And you know what the worst part is? At some point after I defeated the boss fight and I came back to try to finish it, I think I actually ended up finishing the game the day after I did the Jabberwocky boss fights, or at least 7 days afterward, because I had other obligations at the time. When I came back, and I actually knew that I wanted to find all of the hidden items in the game. Alice can actually wield multiple weapons, and there is a very particular missable weapon in the game called the blunderbuss, which is, if you know what a blunderbuss is, then, or at least the game weapon, then kudos to you. But anyway, you know what the most aggravating part was? Well, the blunderbuss is a very easily missable weapon, and it turns out I could have gotten it before I went to do the Jabberwocky boss fight, because the blunderbuss, what was it, blunderbuss or plunderbuss? Blunderbuss. Anyway, the blunderbuss actually is a very good weapon to use against the Jabberwocky. I think that weapon, because, well, it makes sense that it's a missable weapon. It's a powerful goddamn gun. a giant freaking weapon, a powerful goddamn weapon. Like, it's a very easily missable weapon too. You do actually can actually get it one more time, and that's during the final boss fight, and specifically during one of the final phases of the fight. But again, it's a missable weapon. And honestly, I kind of got really cheesed off when I actually found out that I could have actually saved all the agony of dying to the Jabberwocky multiple times. Like, I think I think it was like a little under 20 or maybe a little over 20. Because, oh my god, that boss fight was awful. Even though in the story of American McGee's Alice, taking down the Jabberwocky is actually a very narratively gratifying moment in the game's story, it sure didn't feel gratifying because, god, that fight was awful. The fight was awful. I can't stand that fight. So yeah, if I had actually found the blunderbuss before I did the Jabberwocky boss fight, I would have blown his booty to Kingdom Come! Anyway, why am I talking about Alice? Oh, horror. I'm supposed to be talking about horror-related stuff because I've ran out of horror games for me to try to play because I don't have any more installed on my laptop. That's probably my own fault because I didn't plan for this to happen. Also, I can't exactly go and look through Steam to actually try to see if I have any that I could just install because I don't want anybody to sit here being bored to death in awkward silence as I actually try to wait for something to basically decide to just install itself. And no, while there are some free horror games, I am not taking time out of the live stream to go and download some free horror games. Because most of them are jump scare simulators, and we all know that I chickened out of Spooky. If I couldn't get further into Spooky because my chicken booty just basically couldn't do it, I don't think I would have been able to play any of those freemium games. Also, if there were ones I did want to play, I don't know if I want to actually stream them. I would rather just play them on my own time. Honestly, if I would, I could actually. I don't know if you guys heard of this visual novel. It's called Something's Wrong with Sunny Day Jack. I would actually like to play through the visual novel because, well, I play visual novels. I'm not an avid player of visual novels, but I do actually like dabbling in visual novels. I consider it a genre of video games. I'm one of those people that considers them video games. But anyway, well, Something's Wrong with Sunny Day Jack could actually be something I could feasibly do. I think it's still a pretty deep in its demo phase. But I don't know if Twitch would allow that game on stream. I mean, it probably shows up on the category, but well, it's because of the content is that one. It's more of a, well, let's just call it a mature game. Not in the, like, other horror game sense, like, you know, like, some of the more gory stuff. More so that it probably has like, content that, well, for one, I would most definitely would want to actually put a content warning because some people would not handle some of the stuff. Also, the reason I actually would say that Sunny Day Jack is a mature game is because how should I word this correctly while keeping my TV PG to TV 14 as content and TV PG to TV 14 brand my standards. At least that's kind of how I think and these streams are. They're most definitely not wouldn't be fully kid friendly, but they're not 18 plus. I think my streams could actually fall under more of the line of, well, more PG-13, TV-14. I think I'd like to think of my streams as somewhere around that range. Mainly, and with the occasional M-rated game here and there. Because, I gotta try something new. But here's the thing, though. The reason why I wouldn't want to actually, what I mean by Sunny Day Jack being a mature title is because, how do I word this right? It is, God, I'm trying to basically find the right word to describe some of the other content. If you, I'm a bread boy. How do I put this? What I mean by mature. Let's just say that I have not actually, I've actually basically seen, just the occasional trailer, the screenshots, and as well as scrolling through descriptions. It actually has a page on itch.io, and you can actually download the demo as of right now. I don't know if it's actually when they're gonna basically release the full game, but they're actually going to. But yeah, I think the best way I could actually mention how it would be a bit too mature for me to try to stream on Twitch is because that it's has some adult stuff, and I don't mean violent stuff, though. I think considering the topics and discussions, it probably, and well, it's a demo, though I think in the full game there's gonna definitely be some violent stuff in it. What I mean by adult stuff, I mean more suggestive stuff. Both basically involving the content warning stuff, though I don't know how actually bad it actually gets, because again, content warning stuff. But yeah, I'm trying my hardest. I'm trying my hardest to describe the idea of me, the idea of me streaming what would basically be a read through of what something's wrong with Sunny Day Jack wouldn't actually be feasible. So yeah, what other horror stuff should I talk about? Oh, right. Um, so, Spirit Halloween. You know that store, Spirit Halloween? You know that store where you just go and sometimes get some rather cool, like, decorations, or sometimes they look cheap as hell? Well, apparently a movie got released about it. I kind of already knew about a Spirit Halloween, so basically like a couple years ago, I think it was either last year or the year before. I was at Spirit Halloween with my bro and my mom. We were looking at decorations like we do during the month of October, even if we basically can't afford some of the coolest crap there is, because there's some really cool stuff there. We basically like browsing around because we're interested in seeing some cool stuff. Like, one year I saw a Pip-Boy cosplay item from the Fallout series. That actually is kind of cool. I think it was like last year, I saw like costumes from basically Nezuko from Demon Slayer, which I actually wanted, but it was like $60. It was $60. But yeah, so we got a couple extra items here. They even sell like this cool lollipop candy that's actually based on the one from Trick or Treat. basically it's a pumpkin lollipop. Sam, the iconic character from the movie Trick or Treat from 2007. He basically takes a bite out of it and uses it as a weapon a couple times. Yeah, basically that jack-o'-lantern lollipop with the bite mark on it. There's actually a really cool candy recreation of it at Spirit Halloween. And I think we bought a couple of those. We got a few items. Some of it is just cool decoration. Some of it is also miscellaneous things. But basically, we were like checking out. We were actually getting in line to check out, and I noticed that there was a sign for something. I know it's relevant to the Spirit Halloween movie that actually came out. Again, I think I actually saw it on Shudder when I was like got curious because I wanted to browse through some what was on Shudder. I don't. I'm. This is not. This is not sponsored. Part is not sponsored by Shudder. I'm talking about because this is relevant to the story. I saw that Spirit Halloween movie basically came out. Yeah, you know how basically there's some movies that basically come out for stuff like toys, characters, brands, and stuff. Like literally just earlier this year, we had that Barbie movie, which I actually went and see, and I enjoyed it quite a lot. I now I sometimes just now I want to actually quote Knuff is Knuff. No, I am Knuff. Not in my quote repertoire. My quotable repertoire is like Get In, Lose, or We're Going Shopping from Mean Girls. But yeah, we basically have like movies based on toys, video game characters, and all that fun stuff. But as far as I'm aware, there isn't really a movie there aren't really a whole lot of movies that I'm aware of that are based around a store. And no, I'm not talking about movies that are the quote unquote based on a true story category. No, I'm talking about movies based on a store that actually straight up is an actual story, not one of those quote unquote based on a true story things. Because according to the description, it's basically seems to be a movie that involves Spirit Halloween. Some nonsense stuff. The reason why I'm talking about that movie is because when we were checking out in Spirit, I saw what I believe was either a table with a little slips of paper, a promotional paper on some sign, or I think it was a paper plastered on a door in the entrance. In this entrance of the Spirit Halloween, that building that usually becomes Spirit Halloween in October. But I don't remember what it was, but I remember visually remembering that it was some kind of contest about the Spirit Halloween movie. And yeah, that's when I actually knew that a Spirit Halloween movie was being made. I even talked about it to my brother afterwards, and I don't remember how the conversation went fully. I think he basically thought it may have been a dumb movie idea. I think I'm in the same camp too. Earlier this year, we basically got some trailers for that Wonka movie that's coming out in December. And yeah, I actually saw like TV spots, trailers for it on a TV at my work, since I work part-time. I work a part-time job now, as of currently. Well, basically, that TV basically played movie trailers for some movies that are definitely skewed towards the younger audience. I've seen some of those trailers for like Wish, Wonka, and that new Illumination movie, Migration, multiple times. And and then the Wonka one, apparently there's a chocolate cartel, because I originally thought it was some kind of misinterpretation from the TV spot, from the auto captions, but no. No, the idea of a movie based on Spirit Halloween, not the dumbest thing I've basically kind of heard of a movie from this year, technically. Although I don't know if Spirit actually came out this year. It may have came out last year. But regardless, that's not the Spirit Halloween movie. I kind of forgot it. I actually forgot it existed until I saw it on a Shudder. I was like, wait, that's a thing now? Wait, that actually became a thing? Sorry, my throat's getting a little dry. there we go. Remember to drink your water, people. Anyway, so I'm continuing with horror stuff. So yeah, among other like horror relevant items of note, Spirit only. Going here. Spirit only. Oh, right. So basically, I think I kind of gradually started to realize over time that I think the brand of horror that I kind of tend to lean towards, I think it's because I actually kind of more handle, like, I think horror movies that aren't outright trying to basically scare you, but basically are more of a disturbing level, that are more visually disturbing, but aren't outright trying to scare you. Does that make sense? Maybe that's why Alice Madness Returns appeals to me so much. There's some visually disturbing imageries that are either disturbing or really unsettling. With some with some other content to boot. That may or may people may or may not actually can handle. But basically, I think Alice kind of just appealed to me a lot more because of that. So, basically to give you some more ideas of some of the other horror related stuff that I actually like, and basically ones that I think appeal to me more. I think a couple of them are basically stuff like Black Swan, Last Night in Soho, I think a few others. Yeah, I think those are some of the ones here. Honestly, Black Swan is actually something of another level, though. I do actually really like Black Swan, largely because of its main theme of perfectionism, and how that perfectionism could eventually lead to one's self-destruction. And also, the backdrop of using the Swan Lake ballet production kind of appeals to me because I'm a ballet nerd who who actually would love to someday basically go back to ballet, though I don't know what the chances are of that. That's also mentioning also kind of relevant ballet stuff here. I honestly, probably because I'm a ballet nerd, I'm an unironic shill for the Nutcracker, and I actually kind of would actually enjoy Nutcracker stuff. In fact, I think the Nutcracker might be one of my favorite Christmas relevant stories. If we're basically kind of like talking about just a Christmas thing in general, like basically that's generally set on Christmas, Nutcracker's my favorite overall. Why am I talking about Nutcracker right now? This is spooky season, not Holly Jolly season. So yeah, Black Swan. Yeah, basically perfectionism and how perfectionism could lead to one's self-destruction physically and mentally. And there's some pretty disturbing and sometimes grotesque images. Honestly, that movie basically came out when I was like, I think a tween at that point. I think I was either 12 at the time, and I wanted to actually see it. I wanted to see it, but I was discouraged. Felt discouraged when I learned that it was an R-rated movie, and I would not see it because I was a good little lass who basically did not go against authority. I did not go against authority growing up because I didn't want to get in trouble. I was a sweet little angel. So yeah, when I did finally reach adulthood and I actually did finally watch The Black Swan, I knew that I would actually like it, really love it, and I did. Although there is one scene, it's not a story relevant thingy, but it's a scene to actually give a heads up for. There's a really infamous scene in Black Swan where the main character finds something stuck to her finger, like her pointer finger, and there's basically some really grotesque images of her yoinking, ends up basically pulling, and I think she rips her fingernails off, that fingernail off, and ends up pulling on it so hard, trying to pull it and causing a lot of blood and stuff. And what she ends up pulling out is a black feather. There's also some other visually, other visual elements here. Honestly, and honestly, the production of the theme of the Black Swan character herself is also a really iconic image. Wait, wait, oh crap! I think it's dying. I think my internet is dying right now. Um, wait, wait. Oi, is the stream gonna basically stop now? So, horror stuff. What other horror things can I talk about? Um, there we go. There we go. Finally. Finally. Refresh. I don't know if my disconnect was actually basically helped. But yeah. Um so last night in Soho, I should probably talk about that right now. I actually saw the trailer. First saw the trailer, the very first one for last night in Soho. I think it was when me and my brother went to go see The Suicide Squad, and it was actually one of the trailers that was being played in our theater. And honestly, I actually became immediately interested in it, and I really wanted. And honestly, I actually really wanted to actually basically see it. So eventually, after it got released on Redbox, my brother and I went to watch it because we actually were basically doing some horror movie related watching for October. That was actually the same time around that same time that I watched Sinister for the first time. A movie that my mother basically says that she will never watch again. And honestly, with the ending to Sinister, the first Sinister, I'm actually fully 100% understand why she didn't want to watch it again. And yeah, me being a chicken when it comes to jump scare stuff, yeah, jump scares really basically are my kryptonite, basically. What would actually be a better relevant to kryptonite? Yeah. So honestly, I actually really enjoyed last night in Soho when I finally got to watch it. I don't own the Blu-ray for that yet, but I do want to actually own it eventually. What are there some spooky? Can I actually tell you the story about how I first watched The Nightmare Before Christmas? Which honestly, I was shocked that it took me years to actually watch it for the first time, and it went from a movie that I heard about but never seen to basically being one of my favorite animated movies of all time. Or I think generally, if I had a top 25 favorite movies list, that would definitely show up somewhere. I think like close to the top 10, basically. Maybe even the top 10 itself, basically. And I think it would actually remain consistent the whole time. Okay, so I should probably go talk about the story of how I first watched it. So this is actually gonna have to. This is relevant to the story. And yes, I know Nightmare Before Christmas is not straight up horror like some of the other ones I talked about, but hey, in my opinion, I think we should talk about stuff like scary, spooky, some scary crap, but also get to have fun by talking about spoopy stuff. Stuff that isn't trying to be outright terrifying or visually disturbing, just more in line with the fun visual aesthetics of Halloween. So, talking about The Nightmare Before Christmas and how I watched it for the first time. Um, so the first time I watched it, very first time, um, this is relevant to the story, but not really relevant. So I actually am at basically, well, I haven't played it in like literal months, and I kind of miss playing it. I actually basically an active player on the Korean, it's the Korean MMO RPG Mabinogi, a MMO that's been around for literally almost what 2 decades now. 2 decades now, I think. Yeah, I have been an active Mabinogi player for quite a few years. In fact, I think on my Steam, you know those like if you have internet when your Steam is connected to the internet, it will like to show you how much time you've put into the game. Uh, I think Mabinogi might actually be the game that I have recorded on Steam that I put the most hours into. I think it was like about like 456. Yeah, I I really love Mabinogi a little too much. Like I even actually spent money on the game, but I really enjoyed having the pet characters. Like there was this collab from a few years ago, with the Udawari Rumono series, specifically with Mask of Deception, or The False Faces, if you're more familiar with that title. And I got a bird, the little bird mount, the giant chunky bird. That's the pet of Rurudai. Hey, and yeah, I have that. She's my go-to mount in the game, and I love basically riding her around the terrains of Mabinogi. Anyway, back to the story. So I was actually once part of a guild in the game. I'm not going to say what the name of the guild is because, well, that's kind of more of a privacy thing to protect their privacy. But yeah, I was once part of a guild that I think I actually ended up having to quit at some point, mainly because, well, I had ended up eventually getting other obligations that prevented me from continuing being in the guild, since they have kind of have a bit of a rule on truancy in the guild members, and I actually had other obligations at the time, so I had to leave. Now that I think about it, I was actually even a part of their Discord server. I was even a part of their Discord server for a little while at that same time, because that particular guild in Mabinogi had a Discord server, and I actually was in that Discord server. And it was actually kind of a lot of fun, actually, admittedly. Sometime in October, they were doing like little Halloween watch parties. At some point, one of them basically said that they were going to actually stream watch some of the guild members who were interested, and they were going to be watching The Nightmare Before Christmas, which by that point I really was interested and wanted to watch it because I think that I would really love the movie, because I think I'm an avid lover of animation and it's considered a bit of a classic, a real classic. So they basically essentially, I think it was like a stream setup for this thing, like I guess party stream like thing that used to be around. I think it was called Rabbit. I think when I actually tried to look it up again, I think it basically got shut down a few years after that whole viewing happened. But anyway, I actually was watching, and even though it kind of like stuff like lagging or internet issues on my part, but hey, I actually watched it, and I was basically being a bit of a movie viewing party with other members of the guild I was a part of in Mabinogi. And I distinctly remember this because there's a quote where this one random scene after Jack basically does that, makes his, after the This Is Halloween part, where Jack Lee walks through the streets of Halloween Town as he makes his way to the Spiral Mountain area, where he ends up singing the iconic Jack's Lament. He passes by a bunch of witches, and one of them calls them, quote, refers to him as, quote, Bone Daddy. And Q, everybody, most of the people, basically either everyone or most of everyone, including me, and for a few jabs, basically who are watching it making daddy jokes about Jack Skellington. I don't know if I should be proud of that. I don't know if it's my proud moment or if or if this is the one of the parts that I remember the most. We kind of just rolled with daddy jokes. We just ended up rolling with daddy jokes, making basically with jokes of daddy related line quotes, quips during the movie. I actually think I tried to pull a Twilight Zone joke out of my butt when Jack was like falling through the portal that leads him to Christmas Town, and when he ends up arriving in Christmas Town, basically find himself in the forest with all those doors to the other holidays. He finds the one for Christmas Town, and he basically just opens it, and he gets pulled into the portal, and we see him just swirling down the portal. I think I actually try to make a Twilight Zone joke about it. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if some people would actually make that joke. It's probably an unoriginal joke, but that's what I thought of at the time, at that moment. Remember, this was my first time watching the movie. And ironically enough, after that view party, a few days later, my mother and brother, the same ones from the Spirit Halloween story, they were also doing Halloween watchings, which is something we basically do every October. Clear my throat for a second. So anyway, during that whole saga, I basically every October, around October, we basically watch a bunch of spooky horror movies that we tend to watch during the month of October. Some of them are just kind of the standard classics, the original Halloween, Trick or Treat, some of the classics with some of our own flair. One particular movie that my brother actually is particularly fond of, though I think more as like a joke, as more of a meme joke, is called The Covenant from 2006. I should go into my irresistible urge to go on a tangent so I can describe what The Covenant is before we switch back to the relevant story at hand. Or I should finish the Jack Skellington, the Night Before Christmas story. Now I'll do the Covenant one because I actually think that most of you probably never even heard of this movie. Now, basically, from what I've basically came to learn years later, is that The Covenant was basically made because of the success of, I think it was like the 1996 movie The Craft, which features a quartet of witches. Which, honestly, considering that my mom has a fascination with witches, I think she would actually like The Craft, actually. Anyway, that's not relevant. So, after the success of The Craft, a bunch of other movies basically came out to some of them basically feel like a couple of them basically try to put their own story, try to essentially put their own little spin on the narrative story of The Craft, but with their own flair. I've heard about Chronicle. Chronicle apparently was a really well-loved one. Then there was a couple really bad ones, like The Witch Files, which my mom basically likes to buy DVDs at Dollar Tree, or $1.25 Tree, as we should call it now. She likes to sometimes buy DVDs, I think, basically, either to basically give them away as gifts or whatnot, or just for gits and shiggles. But we actually had a DVD of The Witch Files, and it basically feels like more of a knockoff of both The Craft and Chronicle, since from what I've heard with Chronicle, it's also found footage related, or at least camcorder recorded or something. Like, it's like something you would actually basically record super really crazy crap, and you actually make a movie with that. So anyway, The Covenant basically came out during that time. I don't know if there was like a big craze for The Craft, since, well, I know The Craft is really well liked, and I wouldn't be surprised if some people sometimes have that as their October movie lineup. I don't think I never watched The Craft, but I do know have watched the video that talked about The Craft and the movies that came out after that. In fact, The Craft actually ended up having a bit of a reboot movie, which I've heard wasn't that good. Which, though, again, it may actually be more well liked than I thought. But anyway, The Covenant. The Covenant is basically a movie about a quartet of boys who are warlocks and are basically sons of witches, and they're warlocks. And basically, when a guy shows up, and he turns out to be a part of a line of witches that was supposed to have been dead for centuries since the Salem witch trials. If you guys know what I mean when I mentioned the Salem witch trials, yeah, that storyline gets that whole real life of it gets kind of heavy. But anyway, basically there are four families of witches. There was originally five, but supposedly the fifth family got wiped out during the Salem witch trials. But then we have this other guy. He basically shows up, and our main character is supposedly turning 18 and was supposedly getting a big boost of power. But there's also rules about it. Mainly that you need to be careful. They need to be careful with how much magic they use because it could cause them to age rapidly. But basically, our main villain, who is, the kid that basically was part of the bloodline of the deceased fifth family group of families that was supposed to have been wiped out in the witch trials of Salem. Yeah, he basically is wanting power, basically. Honestly, yeah, The Covenant is not a good movie. Oh, right, there's also a female love interest there, too. So yeah, he basically develops a relationship with a girl that basically moved. This whole movie also takes place in a town called Ipswich, which, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm aware, it's actually a real town. I think it actually is a few miles from Salem. Ooh, original. But yeah, The Covenant is not a good movie. It actually has some really bad CGI, and there's some lines that are absolutely cringy, but there's those lines. Some of those lines are just absolutely hilarious. Like seriously, we sometimes just watch The Covenant because we love to have a good laugh. Seriously, honestly, one of the lines that is in the movie that we will never basically not find funny is when one of the members of this quartet of boys, and they basically are driving a van to get away from the cops because they were at a wooded beach party thing, bonfire thing, whatever. Cops shows up, bunch of teenagers. Yes, they're teenagers. Even though for years, when I actually first watched it, I actually thought for years that the main characters were actually college age students because, this main academic setting looks like a college. And even though the big story development is that the main character is supposed to turn 18. And the climax of the movie actually takes place during his 18th birthday, where he has to fight against the evil, what was his name? Chad? I'm just gonna call the evil guy Chad. Honestly, there's like this really funny moment during one viewing of it, one of our yearly viewings of it, where when he basically does the thing, goes witchy. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It is really stupid. And as he was starting to do that, I actually turned and looked at my mom, and she just was essentially doing a face palm, basically. Doing that. Have you basically seen, some of you may or may not have seen that gif or clip of, what was it? What was his name? That one guy from Star Trek. He does a slow face palm thing. Not an aggressive face palm, kind of like, ow! Ow, ow, I think I hit my forehead too hard. Anyway, so basically it's more or less more of a gradual, slow face palm. I turned and I looked and saw my mom doing that as he was this guy, the evil guy, and Chad just going like witchy. But yeah, But yeah, Covenant is not a good movie, but we find it absolutely hilarious. Like we find basically the movie is not good, but we think it falls firmly in so bad it's good territory. It is hysterical. Honestly, there's one line in the movie. They're basically chase cop van trying to fly, basically use their warlock powers to make their car fly, to make it fly to get away from the cops, landing right behind the cops somehow after driving the car off a cliff and then somehow landed right behind them. But before that happens, each four of the boys start to channel their warlock powers, and one of them, who is kind of like the hothead, the hot blonde hothead, he basically says, and I quote, and I am not making this up, this actually was said in the movie, Harry Potter can kiss my ass! Seriously. Seriously, this is the kind of movie that, you should probably expect. If you're gonna try to watch The Covenant, try to go into it just with your brain off, basically. It's more fun if you just don't think about it too hard. Just enjoy the ride, basically. If you want a rather comical, really funny movie for you to watch either next October, or if you just are curious or want to watch something that, find someone's recommendation of what they think is a so bad it's good movie, I highly recommend The Covenant. Does it have a good story? No. Does it have spectacular special effects and CGI? Hell no. Like there's like a moment in the movie where basically our main character almost gets a head-on collision with a truck coming right towards him, and it just looks terrible. He actually turns out okay because the car and fire and stuff and reassembles itself. It just looks terrible. It is awful. Also I will mention this though, since this movie was made and was released in 2006, it has that, early mid to mid 2000s bro humor. There's like, if you basically kind of don't like that kind of era, there's like one scene where there's a group of guys. The guys are in like a restaurant, bar, club, whatever. They're in like a bar. They're like in this playing pool. The three of the bros here, base dudes, just basically just throws money on the pool table when they saw a waitress here. One of them basically betting on what color her underwear is, white and lace, pink and lace, and the third one just goes like, she hasn't worn underwear since she was in years. So one of them just basically straight up uses his warlock powers to flip her skirt, proving that she is in fact not wearing any panties. And basically the one that said that she didn't wear underwear basically got to win the money. So yeah. Honestly, I don't know, I can't fully remember if that's one of the parts of yeah, I think that part of the movie would just kind of turn you off, basically, if you really don't like that kind of, mindset and attitude, though I think that's only like in that particular scene. And also, I guess, depending on your tolerance, you may hate the blonde guy. Basically, we got our main character. He basically is turning 18, kind of a typical boy, young boy. We have one of his basically other members of the quartet, a hot-headed blonde guy. Wait, was he blonde? I could have sworn he was blonde. Basically, it was actually initially suspected to. Actually, no, I'm not gonna say anymore. If I go into full spoiler talks of The Covenant, it'll just ruin the fun for you to experience yourself. But yeah, I will basically mention it right now that there is a scene that basically that if you basically view it from a modern day Gen Z 2023 lens, it would be seen as problematic. It is most definitely a problematic scene, most definitely. But honestly, if you can actually look past some of the more problematic aspect of a movie that was released in 2006, back when this kind of, mindset and attitude was considered okay back then, if you can either willing to look past that and you want to actually watch some of the hilarity in this movie, there's actually a few decent parts in the movie, I'll admit. But honestly, it is just not a good movie. But we basically love it nonetheless. I firmly place it under so bad it's good. I highly recommend it if you're willing. I highly recommend The Covenant 2006 if you're willing to look past it. And I have to say it's The Covenant 2006 because apparently there was a movie that came out earlier this year or 2 years ago that also is similarly named The Covenant. I'm talking about the one from 2006, the one that had the jab at Harry Potter, back before her jabbing at Harry Potter and criticizing it was cool. Anyway, with that weird ending set aside, what else do I would have on the docket here? Oh, right. Have to cycle back to Nightmare Before Christmas. So yeah, basically, hilariously enough, few nights after I actually had that a stream with me watching Nightmare Before Christmas with basically members of a Mabinogi guild I was in. Basically, a few nights later, we actually wound up watching Nightmare Before Christmas. Us basically the second time of me watching it. So yeah, it was kind of awkward. But I didn't say anything. I just basically pretended it was my first time watching it again. My first time watching it. I did admit a few years later that I actually watched it, but hey, but yeah, it's now one of my favorite movies of all time now. So, let's see, going a quick short list. Oh, Halloween candies. So what's your favorite candy? Since candy is actually a aspect of Halloween, right? Personally, on one of my personal favorite candy is Kit Kats. Personally, I really enjoy eating Kit Kats. I do like Trolli. I like Trolli gummy worms. My mom can't actually stand Trollis because she can't stand the fact that they're gummy worms. But I love Trollis. And no, and I'm actually talking about Halloween candies. If we were talking about candy in general, I would definitely also put Ferrero Rocher on my list. And a while ago, I actually saw this funny meme. I saw this meme of basically it shows like a woman, what seems to be like a person, just basically having a box of Ferrero Rochers further than a table, and she was basically taking Ferrero Rocher wrappers, the little paper thingy underneath, the gold wrapping. Yeah, she was basically doing that, but basically essentially took the chocolate part out of the Ferrero Rocher and rewrapped and just rewrapped it. And what was she using? Those Brussels sprouts balls, basically. Brussels sprout balls is the best way I could actually describe it. Basically some people basically trying to give like a toothbrush or try to trick them with candy and stuff. Try to trick the candy. To try to trick basically kids into eating like some kind of vegetable that was disguised in a candy. Yeah, basically the image is basically a meme of and it says, "Time to disappoint people this year." Just wrapping little Brussels sprouts inside Ferrero Rocher wrappings. And and honestly, I find this meme hilarious. But in real life, though, if I was a kid, if I was basically still young enough to trick or treat, and I've had that happen to me, where I basically excitedly would get a Ferrero Rocher ball, unwrap it, only to find a Brussels sprout in there, I think I would have rioted, basically. Yeah, because honestly, you don't touch my Ferrero Rochers. Seriously, every Christmas, I get like a box of Ferrero Rochers every Christmas. I think it's either my birthday or Christmas since they're both in the same month. This may or may not come to play a part again in the future. May or may not be a stealthily mentioned tease of a potential birthday stream. Who knows? But yeah, I tend to actually get a box of Ferrero Rochers for my birthday and Christmas because I absolutely adore those chocolate balls. And honestly, the thing that kind of did its job for me was the fact that one of the original commercials for Ferrero Rocher involved like basically in the heavens, involved with a bunch of gods dressed in shades of gold. One of them basically ends up trying to misses catching a Ferrero Rocher ball. It plummets to the earth with the world of mortals. A woman takes a Ferrero Rocher, unwraps it. We see this imagery of chocolate with nuts just splattering around a ball with a little crust ball with a little chocolate whipped center, and she takes it a bite out of it. And now this basically kind of becomes a thing where I would refer to Ferrero Rochers as chocolates of the gods, basically. Maybe because of that. But in actuality, you could, you could buy a $3 small pack of it at like Walmart if you want. Personally, I think your better investment is in a box, if anything. But anyway, candy stuff. Candy. So yeah, Kit Kat, Ferrero Rochers, Trolli. I do like Reese's peanut butter cups. I do like Skittles, but I don't like them in large quantities. I really do like M&Ms, but again, it's not my candy of choice. Remember when they made that Kit Kat candy bar? Wait, no, not Kit Kat. M&M's candy bar. That was short-lived. Seriously, they even made a Ferrero Rocher chocolate bar, and that actually, as far as I'm aware, is still around, surprisingly enough. So, other basically doing more October spooky related story stuff. We talk about candy, horror stuff, spooky movies. What else am I missing on spooky Halloween stuff to talk about? Let's see here. Oh, Halloween costume stories. So, yeah. This is just basically me rambling off different little stories, because basically my RPG Maker game decided to be a B and not work. I chickened out of Spooky as soon as I went through room 2, and Darkwood just straight up crashed before it finished loading. And I don't have any other horror games to install, so I'm just rambling, just firing off different Halloween-related stories. So yeah, Halloween stream, happy spooky season, and I don't have any music to play because, one, I don't have Spotify set up on OBS, and I'm trying to figure this stuff out, and I don't want to run into YouTube copyright problems if I try to upload VODs. This will make for an interesting edit, though, if I chop up the videos, if I kind of chop up certain parts and I just, have different parts of the video. Maybe I can actually have, like, different parts be their own separate parts of the separate videos based on different stories that I talk about. So, Halloween costumes. I think I mentioned earlier in the Spirit Halloween story about how there was a Nezuko costume that I wanted to buy that one year, but it was $60. It basically more or less came with the little costume that looks like Nezuko's little outfit, little shoes, even actually has the mouth clamp and everything. But I couldn't actually afford it at that year, and when I went to try to get it again the following year, I couldn't find it. There was also a My Hero Academia costume. Actually, there was a couple, actually. The two ones that I actually kind of remembered were, one, it was based on the UA tracksuits from My Hero Academia, and the other one is actually based on the UA uniforms. Those rather visually visually image of the school uniforms in My Hero Academia of UA. Honestly, I would have loved to actually grab the UA uniform because one, I could probably likely try to do I don't know, an Ochako cosplay or something. But also, I could probably just dress myself up as like, goes like, here, this is myself, this is me as a My Hero Academia character. My quirk is this third, blah, 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 blah. You know, that. You know, I could just basically dress as a My Hero Academia self-insert OC, like you actually would find on like AO3. No, and no, I am not elaborating on that further. Thank you very much. No, I am not elaborating on the AO3 stuff. I'm not elaborating on that crap. Thank you very much. I'm not elaborating on that further. Anyway, I actually, honestly, the UA uniform appealed to me more than the tracksuit because it's just a straight up gym tracksuit, man. I know some people actually have costumes based on that, but geez, I wasn't interested in that. So yeah, costumes. There's actually a handful of costumes that I can actually remember in over like a few years of my life when I was like a young lass trick or treating, house door to door. I had a lot of costumes over the years, but I actually want to mention a few that I can remember vividly. One of them is just a Slatter to Gather costume. I was like, I think it was around like five or six, 5 or 6, I think, when I was like really young. It was like like I was really young. I actually had this purple dress that was essentially, I think, a Renaissance dress, but it was, I think, a princess or a Renaissance peasant uniform dress. It was purple. It had like a little felt like design, felt feeling to it. I basically was probably meant to be a princess, but no, I wanted to take a step further. I actually got basically decided to grab a toy sword, one of those toy kid sword thingies that you might find at a Dollar Tree or $1.25 tree now, and a shield. And basically, the first house we basically went next door was our neighbor, which I actually called a second grandma because she was an elderly woman who lived next door to us. She wound up having to away years later, many years later though, and considering her old age now, I think she might actually be deceased now. Um, I actually don't want to actually say her actual name, even though she's deceased. Am I gonna actually give her a made up name? Uh, let's see her. We'll call her Blonda. Close enough. Good enough. Anyway, so Blonda was basically an elderly woman that lived next door to the house I basically grew up in for years. Basically, Blonda basically was an elderly woman, I actually considered her a second grandmother basically because I even took to call her Grandma next door basically because I was very young. So basically, I remember this story distinctly because, well, more or less I remember the costume, but I don't remember what I ended up saying. So I wore a princess dress, but I actually went a step further and I grabbed what I think was actually, I know it was a toy, one of those kids' toy plastic swords. And I think I also had a shield or an armor piece over it. I may or may not have, I don't know, basically I was like, this is what I want to wear for Halloween for trick or treating. You know, just whining because this was what I wanted to wear. Again, I was really young. I think I was like 5 or 6 at the time, when this story happened. So basically, me and my brother, who were like really young kids, we went next door to Blonda's, since, well, she would actually be the first one we would go next door to in our neighborhood. And I don't remember saying that line, but according to my mother, I said, and I quote, "I'm a princess knight." So that was basically my costume. I was wearing a princess dress, but I had a toy knight sword with plastic knight armor a little bit over my little princess dress, and I called myself a princess knight. And even though I'm a bit of a magical girl, a bit of an anime buff who actually knows what princess knight is, again, 5 or 6. This was years before I basically sunk deep to the anime hole, let alone the magical hole. I didn't yeet headfirst into the magical girl hole till 2009. And there was a particular reason for that, but that's not relevant to the topic at hand. Even though I went on multiple tangents with these little discussion things, because, well, I have to do something to keep you guys entertained. And also because the chat's kind of dead right now. I think some of you basically are just listening intently to these stories. But basically, yeah, Princess Knight. This next one happened quite a few years later. I think I was around like, I don't remember. I think I was like 9 or 10 or 11. I can't remember the age that around that time. And we also have another memorable costume. I basically went as a Dark Fallen Angel. Basically, more of a goth looking appearance. No, I don't think I didn't have a goth phase, though, even though I thought I did when I was a tween. No, that's probably because it was basically me, they saying things that I didn't really fully get. And also, I don't remember if this happened in 2009. And basically, I was this Dark Fallen Angel, and I don't know if there's any pictures that were taken with that costume, but I remember it was a Dark Fallen Angel costume. And honestly, I actually really loved that costume. I loved it. I actually quite like it a lot, actually. It was pretty badass, basically. And here's the story that I actually remember very clearly. We were like trick-or-treating. I think I had a bit of a, sometimes in real life, not visually seeing my model here, I have a bit of a face that would either be described as like, bored, or with a light glare to it. Basically, a pursed lips, just basically having this look that's just basically me staring out in the face, where if you're basically a little kid could find intimidating if I actually was visually more appearance-wise more intimidating. The reason why this is relevant is because when we were walking across the way to another house, another family basically was coming up to follow, basically walking past us. I remember because there was this, I think, 4-year-old dressed in a construction worker's outfit. And I remember because, it happened really fast. And this could be a detailed, and yeah, this happened really fast, happened years ago, and I don't tend to remember some things from years ago, basically. But I remember this kid looked around was probably about 4 or 5. He wore a construction worker's outfit. He said boo, he did a giggle, and then yelped in fear when I was looking down at the ground. And it kind of looked like that I was actually looking at him, and I scared him. Again, I was a Dark Fallen Angel, and for basically what would be a costume that I ended up wearing when I was I think around 9 or 10, it actually made me look kind of intimidating, basically. Also, I don't remember if this happened that same year with the angel costume, or if this was from a different year, but there's a really funny story. Now, basically, I don't know if this was actually would be considered okay nowadays, but back then, I actually had my trick-or-treat basket. We were walking past the house, and basically one of those people basically was dressed as Michael Myers from Halloween, with a white Michael Myers mask. I think basically the whole deal is that, how some people in neighborhoods sometimes dress as something really scary to try to scare people, like trick-or-treaters or just passerbys, because Halloween spooky stuff? Yeah, I remember there was this young guy. He was basically wearing a Michael Myers mask, and I think he had been going around scaring the crap out of people. Because, well, who wouldn't be terrified of Michael fricking Myers? So yeah, I think he essentially did the same with me, and I think my mom and brother were also there too. I think my dad was also there too, but we're not going to talk about my dad here. Honestly, I don't like talking about really serious stuff in like my channel though, but there's a basically particular reason why I don't want to talk about my dad right now, in relevant in context to this, and when that's in this story. Because honestly, basically there's a lot of emotional turmoil. It more so had to do with the fact that basically the short version is basically my dad committed adultery by cheating my mom on another woman and left, and basically kind of just divorced her and left her, and basically kind of more or less was essentially a big factor in some really harsh, hard emotional stuff that actually happened that kind of lasted for a few years. That's kind of more or less a nutshell, basically. And again, it's not relevant to the Halloween story because again, I like to keep these streams lighthearted, but yeah, I don't want to talk about that whole shebang. So anyway, with that little awkward expedition dump out of the way, the Halloween story. That Halloween story. So yeah, what happened was the guy in the Michael Myers mask kind of seemed to have been going around scaring people because they lived he seemed to have lived in a house that I think we either walked past because I think we either were walking past because I think we got candy from that house or we were just walking past it. He basically walks up and I think tries to scare me since, well, I'm a really young kid and I think it was easy to scare. It worked, basically. But then something unexpected happened that I think the guy never actually expected happened. I started hitting him with my trick or treat bag. I was just wailing. Again, worth pointing out, I was really young. I was a kid, basically, so I wasn't doing any damage to him, basically. Hey, I was a kid, but basically, I was whacking him with my trick or treat bag. And he was like running. And according to my mom, I ran after him. I ran after the guy wearing the Michael Myers mask. And I was hitting him with my trick or treat bag. That actually was quite memorable. That's actually kind of really memorable, basically, because seriously, can you imagine yourself? You're basically dressed as a really scary horror movie character, or at least a character that a lot of people would find really scary. And you've been spending your Halloween evening scaring parents, kids, or even some other passerbys because it's Halloween and people are out trick-or-treating. You basically try to scare one kid. And then you actually got the basically scare reaction you wanted. But then that girl just turns around and starts hitting you with her trick or treat bag. And you actually kind of just ran because I guess you probably may or may not expected someone to hit you with a trick or treat bag. But you probably what didn't expect was that she would run after you to keep hitting you with the trick or treat bag. Just oh, seriously. Honestly, that's actually one of the more memorable Halloween related stories. So yeah, Halloween costume stuff. Oh yeah, my brother actually did a few Halloween parties, and because he liked doing a couple of those, because well, it's an expensive endeavor. We had to put a reservation in for a hotel, stay in said hotel, and basically get stuff prepped up. So I think I also had a pretty iconic costume. I think I went as a witch basically. I think I didn't want to. I want what I basically could go fully complicated here. I just basically went as a witch basically, and I think the witch costume that I wore was pretty nice actually. I actually really enjoyed it. Basically, there was also one that I actually tried to actually replicate. Basically, on if you've heard of Ever After High, that Mattel doll line that's essentially a spin-off of Monster High that kind of sadly was short-lived and hasn't got a reboot yet like Monster High has had. Now, Monster High, that one is an icon of October-related things, but not relevant to the story. So, in Ever After High, there's a character named Cerise Hood, and she's the daughter of Little Red Riding Hood and of Red Riding Hood and the wolf. And it's actually, and again, it's for kids. Don't think about it too much. It's kids thing. It's better if you actually just roll with it. And basically she has a bit of a short red hair, short brunette hair. She wears a little red cloak like the Red Riding Hood character, and she kind of carries a basket for a purse. But something that you wouldn't notice in the doll, but if you've seen the webisodes or the cartoon stuff, is that she's actually half wolf. She has wolf ears and a tail. And honestly, I don't know if she's half werewolf. Again, I haven't watched the Ever After High cartoons in a long while, so I may be forgetting that she is actually half werewolf, but she's half wolf, that's for sure. So honestly, I actually kind of took that in mind and I wanted to actually do something a bit of an inspiration. A bit of a Red Riding Hood Wolf Girl hybrid. Because I think I started to have a fascination with wolves, and werewolves in particular. Honestly, if we're basically talking about vampires v werewolves, or vampires v werewolves, I will choose to side with werewolves every time, basically. So I wanted to actually basically go as what I assumed was a banger of a costume idea. But I had to go with slightly a cheaper route. Because budgets. But yeah, I honestly, if I wanted to actually redo that costume in the future, I would. It's not, yeah, the werewolf girl, the wolf, red riding wolf hood, red wolf hood. I don't remember what I called it. I think I just called it Red Riding Hood Wolf Hybrid. I think that's what I called it. I kind of want to redo that costume in the future, actually. Honestly, if I actually had better, like more time and stuff to actually try to recreate it a little better, or at least some interpretation of it, I think it would actually be a really cool costume idea, not gonna lie. So, let's see here. Costumes, horror movies, spooky stuff. Just doing another story here. Trying to actually think of another Halloween relevant story to tell. Oh, let's see, what time is it? It's 11:42 right now. Ooh, geez, we've been talking for I've been telling stories for a while. Well, then again, I could be playing something right now, but after that crap show, I didn't want to cut the stream too short, so I think this is the best I could do. So, apologies if you were here for gameplay, but hey, at least there's a Twitch category called Just Chatting, so you can listen to my voice as it gradually becomes cracked because I haven't been drinking my water bottle here because, reasons. Actually, I'll just do that right now. I sound really off right now. What do I sound like? Do I sound like Rorsch from Watchmen or something? What do I sound like to you? What a bunch of rares. Anyway. My mic's caught on my hair. Anyway, so yeah, Halloween episodes. We've basically had a bunch. Basically it seems that like every TV show, or at least most of them, basically has had at least one Halloween episode or two, depending on the series. So I actually like a lot of things. I have my personal picks here, which may not be the same as other people's. So with that in mind, I should probably quickly mention one of the first ones off the top of my head. Regular show. Regular show has had like a bunch of Halloween episodes. I think starting in like season 2, I think. And I think they had at least one Halloween episode every season since season 2, all the way up to its final season of season 8. Now, for a long while, I actually went growing up, even as a high schooler, I basically would watch regular show every night when it aired, during the days it aired. Sometimes I just basically would catch the new episode of Adventure Time before regular show. A fun story about regular show though. My first episode of regular show that I watched on television. I think it was the Do Me a Solid episode and the Mordecai and the Rigby's episode. That was the first one I watched. Those were technically the first episodes I watched. My mom actually quite likes regular show, and there's a scene in one episode of regular show that she will never not die laughing. Basically, it's actually you can actually find the clip. It's basically a montage where Rigby talks about how he can't. It's unfair that he basically can't beat Mordecai at punchies, and Mordecai is like, "Dude, you can't. You don't win against anybody at punchies." And basically, we see a montage of Rigby trying to do punchies with other members of, their coworkers at the park. And basically, we see Rigby getting punched by a few of them, which basically ends with that montage ends with Rigby getting punched by Skips, who, for those who are unfamiliar with the character, he's a muscular Yeti character. And when Rigby gets punched by Skips, he gets flung and he gets airlifted to the hospital. Seriously, it's that scene that my mom just gets killed that slays her every time she actually watches it. You can actually find the clip on YouTube right now, actually, and this is exactly the name of the title here. So again, this probably would go against my TV-14 PG-13 content here if I say the full name. But yeah, basically essentially, without technically saying it, basically the name of that, you can actually find that clip somewhere. If I remember right, you actually can find the clip here as is, separately as is. But yeah, you can actually find the clip if you want. And honestly, I know regular show wouldn't be to everybody's cup of tea. I quite like regular show, though admittedly I do have my problems with some aspects of it. I think I actually ended up having to stop watching it. I think at some point during like season 6, or at least early on in season 6, I have my own I do have issues with some of the writing choices in regular show. Like honestly, CJ as a character as a whole is just becomes so freaking unlikable and really aggravating. Honestly, Starla is also very aggravating too. I think Starla is tolerable in some episodes, but it's just straight up insufferable in others. Like, ugh, don't even get me started in how the way she acts in how the way Starla acts in the Bald Spot episode. Honestly, it is aggravating. But yeah, I have my own personal issues. Honestly, in terms of the writing issues, I strongly have issues with the way CJ in regular show. Though again, not relevant to Halloween stuff. It's 11:48. I gotta get to the juicy parts. So basically, there's a collection of Halloween episodes that regular show had done from, I believe, starting in season 2 all the way up to its final season, and they were called Terror Tales of the Park or Terror Tales from the Park. I can't remember the exact wording of that title. But basically, to put it bluntly, there are a bunch of episodes that are essentially anthology episodes. They have like more or less 3 stories with a wraparound story in between them. In the very first, I tend to usually favor the first 2 the most. In the very first one, it's more or less the group basically telling scary stories. Like, first one basically, there was a lot, like, for example, the first one actually involves, I think, a really evil doll. A very possessed evil doll that was told by Pops. The second one involves, like, Muscle Man and High Five Ghost. basically trying to drive a band's like a band a travel van that's haunted by the ghost of the band that lived in it, and tried to drive it into a thing called the crash pit. The crash pit actually shows up a few times in a couple episodes. And basically, that's told by Muscle Man. And the third story involves Rigby pissing off a wizard because he ate his house, and the wizard starts to turn Rigby into a house, and the guys just go inside the house to look around, and yeah, each one basically kind of more or less gets off one by one in, well, PG fashion, basically. There's no blood, basically, though there is a visually amusing moment where Muscle Man, no, Muscle Man, basically, Benson ends up puking gumballs when High Five Goats gets killed. He gets sucked into the phone, and gets sucked into a phone, and gets spewed out through the other, back out the phone. I think basically getting him basically out of the phone, which causes Benson to puke up gumballs. Eventually, Mordecai basically still has to go, leaving Rigby the sole survivor, and Rigby just ends up apologizing to the wizard for egging his house. And yeah, that one actually involves that there. And the second episode actually, the second Terror Tales of the Park episode involves basically the park workers plus Thomas. Actually, now that I think about it, they started the Terror Tales of the Park episodes in like season 3. Thomas is a character that I think when he basically was his tenure as one of the sub-main characters on the show, basically kind of was gradually useless until he was eventually written off in an episode that actually had to have some of its plot narrative changed because of, well, you know, oh god, that episode. That episode, man. This is honestly that episode. It makes me kind of uncomfortable to talk about. If you are aware of, if you know the episode where Thomas is a big twist reveal with Thomas, with Thomas, who is a goat-looking guy. Basically, the deal with Thomas is in the episode where Thomas is essentially put on the bus. Yeah, that episode is really, really uncomfortable to talk about. Not just because of, essentially, if I want to basically bluntly describe that episode as blunt as possible without going into too much detail, and why I feel really uncomfortable talking about it, basically, in short, I will need to mention that it basically involves scenes with a board meeting where the U.S. is arguing with Russian diplomats, and Russia's goal is to essentially try to fly the house that belongs in the park to Russian borders to make it look like that Americans are trying to attack Russia, thus trying to start a war. Yeah. And yeah, that episode comes off as very extremely pardon my French here, pardon my French, but America, yeah, basically it you know that song in like Team America, that puppet movie made by the creators of South Park that had that meme song of America F yeah. Yeah, that honestly very much describes the vibe that episode kind of gives me nowadays. In fact, that episode's narrative contents ended up getting changed in the European airings of the episode. And again, I don't know if this is true, but I think it is, considered that they did change some dialogue lines in episodes before. At least as far as I'm aware. But yeah, supposedly, in those episodes, and that episode aired in the European countries, they actually had to change Russia to be a made-up country because they didn't want European viewers to be scared of Russia. And honestly, that episode is dated in more ways than one. Between the parts of the America F yeah aspects of the feelings, the vibes the episode gives off, and honestly, Thomas being revealed as a Russian spy, he actually does turn around to the good guys at the end, but it gets put on the bus, And essentially, Lee is no longer in the main character cast, or at least a supporting character, because honestly, Thomas is kind of a useless. Didn't need to be there. Aside from like the season 4 premiere, which honestly is one of the best episodes in regular show in my opinion. Check out Exit 2B. Exit 2B if you check out Exit 2B if you actually want to check out a really cool, really good episode. But yeah, after his that premiere episode, Thomas is kind of a punching bag, a bit of a butt monkey character. And it isn't until that episode that he basically was given essentially a backstory, and it's revealed that multiple actions or stuff is just an act, and his goal is to actually, and his goal is that he's a Russian spy. Yeah, honestly, that episode is really uncomfortable to talk about. And this is just me, a VTuber, who basically who just plays video games and makes some really dumb, and makes some, sometimes has likes to say silly words, and just try to have some fun while doing it. And I don't like talking about who doesn't want to actually talk about serious stuff, but yeah, I can't help but can't help but cringe thinking about that episode. That episode is dated in more ways than one. Again, the aforementioned America F yeah vibes the episode gave off, that basically kind of just really kind of would rub people the wrong way. And the fact that Russia is a country, is essentially the diplomats of the, what was it, governors of Russia or something, being seen is essentially the villains of the episode. In fact, there's even a femme fatale Russian spy who Benson actually ends up dating as a subplot in the episode. She tries to kill them, but she dies. And, yeah, you can very much tell. The reason, honestly, it's not just the pro-America F yeah aspects that vibes that the episode gives off. There is a much more serious real life thing that also makes this episode very dated on a whole nother level. And again, this is not the time and place to talk about this, but yeah. And also, I'm pretty sure there's other people who are smarter than me who may have actually went back to the episode and may have dissected it. And basically, honestly, this is kind of one of the most dated episodes. It kind of felt dated at the time, but it feels worse nowadays. Both as to how it originally is in America, with Russia as the villains in the episode, complete with the Russian femme fatale, and basically the utterly useless Thomas, and inexplicably being given a backstory to, I guess, to probably make him more important than he is, and then gets written off the show, basically. And also the fact that the fact that in European airings of the episode they changed Russia to be a fictional country because they didn't want the European viewers to be scared of Russia, but yeah. What a I don't know how I can actually I kind of want to actually make some corny joke about how this is technically one of the scariest things to actually think about. Basically one of the scariest things, but honestly, that feels really incredibly tasteless. So, yeah. So, and I can't even remember the damn episode's name. All I remember is basically the plot lines and how I think it's one of the most dated episodes of regular show. In both back then when it basically aired, when looking through with a more scrutinized lens, to how it's to even basically even in the aspect that got changed in Europe, how it's extremely dated, and it's basically you have a TV episode, especially of a TV episode that features our main character, our group of main characters features an basically an anthro blue jay, an anthro raccoon, a yeti, a green man, a ghost with a hand sticking out of his head that basically gives high fives, a guy with a lollipop for a head that's pink and it acts childlike, a gumball machine for a boss, and we include such other characters as like a girl who is who is an anthropomorphic cloud, I think a beaver, and a red bird, and we also have other one-off also characters that appear occasionally, like a vending machine guy that is the rival to the gumball machine boss. And we also have the aforementioned goat, anthropomorphic goat, who's written, who's written out on the bus episode is one of the most dated episodes in the whole series. But yeah. Oh hey, it's around midnight, and I've been talked about horror episodes. That whatever. I'll just run off a short list of some Halloween episodes that I always tend to still think about even today on certain aspects. So yeah, Terror Tales Around the Park 1 and 2. A short list of 2. The guys are driving to a Halloween party and they tell scary stories. One featuring a party bus that, the further it goes down, it rapidly ages the participants on the party bus. I think the one where basically a uncle of Mordecai's, basically gets, I'll pay you back, and it's one of the more lighthearted ones. And I and no, wait, what was the last one? Oh, the wallpaper one. It has like a wallpaper guy who turns out to be a spider. Mordecai and Ring managed to blow up the spider, but blow themselves up in the process. They crashed, they didn't survive, but turned into a ghost. Except High Five Ghost, who's already a ghost, but they go to the Halloween party regardless. It's actually kind of darkly comedic, basically. And even then, even in the non-Halloween specific episodes, there's even episodes that have either a creepy vibe or a vibe that would actually be perfect to actually watch, as something to watch in October if you want to have a creepy or perfect vibe episode that isn't a straight up Halloween episode. There's one where we actually have a couple episodes that actually involved a character that appears on occasions, Death, who I actually really love his voice. I actually kind of really like Death. He's kind of like a cool character, bit of a cool character. Like, he has a wife that has like essentially 4 arms and 2 legs. And he basically, and in the said episode that has the spooky vibe, basically Mordecai Rigby had to babysit Death's kid, who is actually a 1,000-year-old bee demon, but is pretending to wait out as a baby because he liked it, because he liked actually pretending to pretend to actually have the appearance when he's actually not really a natural demon baby. And Death basically is taking his wife out to dinner, so he has Mordecai Rigby babysit the kid in exchange to actually saving Muscle Man, whose soul is basically in jeopardy, basically. There's another one that actually involves Mordecai Rigby trying to show a horror movie screening at a graveyard, like some kind of park graveyard thingy or whatnot that is renovation. But at some point, they accidentally end up raising the dead, so they have to basically defend the patrons of the movie, of the screening, including completely, utterly oblivious Benson. Benson's the gumball guy. In order to basically, so that they could have their day off, since that's the reward for basically finding an idea to basically get funds to be able to repair the park house. There's actually a few other ones that have creepy or spooky vibes, but I'm blanking on them. In fact, I think there's even some from the seasons I didn't watch. But yeah, those are the ones that I tend to think that are coming off the top of my head. There's at least one Terror Tales of the Park episode for every season, starting in season 3. But the first 2 are the ones that stick out in my mind the most, probably because they're the ones that I remember, that I watched the most, but also I think they're the most well known, and I also quite enjoyed them quite a lot. Then we have what actually is the season 1 finale of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Blue. Honestly, I kind of want to go and watch that episode again because I hadn't watched it in years. But basically, the general plot is that Mac and Blue end up playing in the rain and mud, but they end up catching a bad cold. So Blue is basically getting sicker and loses his blue color and becomes white. Meanwhile, Eduardo, Wilt, and Coco were watching a horror movie that I realize now is actually, after years, is apparently a parody of House on Haunted Hill, which I think, if I remember right, it's called The Haunted House on Horror Hill or something. But basically, Eduardo, and Wilt and Coco basically get scared from what seems to be ectoplasm, but it's actually blue snot. And he basically gets sicker and sicker to the point of actually ends up talking to his reflection and getting delirious. Yeah, yeah. So if you're playing out, so yeah, be careful when you're outside in the rain. You'll basically get really sick. There's a subplot in the same episode which I think is meant to actually emulate a slasher scenario, basically in a kid-friendly sense. Basically, Frankie had drove Mac home because he's also sick and he can't really walk home. And as he's driving her way back to Foster's, she gets essentially, apparently stalked by a very creepy figure. Basically a figure who actually in the episode, at the end of the episode, turns out to just be a goofy looking imaginary friend. He was just dressed in a trench coat. But yeah, I think this is meant to emulate something like, I don't know, what was it, The Hitchhiker from the Twilight Zone? I actually can't help but think that that's what the episode is parodying, basically. If the A plot with Blue basically being sick and Eduardo, Wilt, and Coco becoming terrified at the aspect of a ghost haunting Foster's, then seems to be a parody of some other horror movie, though I think it might just be House of Haunted Hill or something, or another movie that it's parodying, then I can't help but think that the subplot with Frankie is parodying the Hitchhiker from the Twilight Zone. Though it could, again, be a different one altogether. Honestly, I actually did not realize that it was a season 1 episode, let alone the last episode of season 1. And honestly, there was I remember this episode because I had a Cartoon Network DVD which had a bunch of Cartoon Network cartoons episodes on there, and Blue was actually one of them. And I actually made the observation that out of the ones on the DVD, that Blue Foster, that episode is the only one that actually kind of befits the horror theme. So, also, Halloween episodes. Oh, yeah, Billy and Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Billy and Mandy's a Jacked Up Halloween. I remember this one a lot because it actually features this absolute chat of a villain named Jack-O-Lantern. I actually kind of have a surprising, shocking memory because I think if I remember watching something multiple times, I can kind of remember the general basis of the episode. So basically, again, I haven't watched that one in years, and I would love to watch it again because I really enjoyed that one for years. Honestly, if there's Halloween episodes I want to add to Halloween episode lines-ups, that would be one of them. But anyway, in that episode, Billy basically dresses up as like the Grim Reaper and borrows Grim's scythe. And we meet a sentient jack-o'-lantern. And he ends up stealing the scythe and basically wants to essentially get payback on Grim, basically. I actually kind of remember that there's some pretty morbid moments. Then again, it's Billy and Mandy. There's quite a lot of morbid moments. Honestly, the whole friends moment at the end of that one episode with Nergal just essentially brainwashing everybody into friends. And also there's even a creepy fourth wall break moment where he just goes up to the camera, directly looking at the audience and zaps them, implying that he's also white brainwashing the audience to become friends with him. Honestly, that's actually kind of, seriously, that freaking scene where Nergal just realized that essentially Billy and Mandy forced Grim to be their friends. And he just starts forcefully basically brainwashing everybody to become friends. And he just does, and essentially it feels like one of the rare episodes where the villain actually wins in the end. And it's actually a really disturbing ending. Seriously, that freaking final sequence with friends, plus the audience fourth wall break actually kind of almost feels like it's one of those scenes that it kind of mortifies me in a sense that it actually lives rent free in my brain. Honestly, in my rent free shelf, honestly, it's in the shelf beneath It's honestly in the memory shelf that's beneath the one that involves Shion Sonosaki's famous crazed blood from crazed face from Higurashi, and that's occupying the same space as that creepy ass grin that Shigaraki makes in like episode 25 of My Hero Academia season 2. God damn, that freaking face just gives me almost kind of shivers me to the core of my being. And Higaraki is an off-putting character. I kind of argue that Dabi is kind of scarier in some aspects, but I actually like Dabi. Though honestly, the idea of having red skin just medical staple tape to your lower jaw, to your jaw area, and your arms and your chest is unpleasant. It makes him really off-putting, especially when he goes cray mode. But yeah, honestly, the grin that Shigaraki makes in episode 25 of My Hero Academia season 2 just lives rent-free in my brain. And it lives rent-free right next in the same shelf space as Shion's crazy-ass face in Higurashi. It's, seriously, that face traumatized me. It's just basically being one of those things that you just cannot unsee. But yeah, it's higher on my shelf though, because it just unnerves me to my core of my being. Alongside, although the final scene in that one episode, Billy and Mindy with the friends brainwashing thing, also, lives rent-free in my brain. Although, now that horrifying, unnerving shelf has a new occupant, that being, well, a very particular scene in Trigun Stampede episode 6. If you haven't watched Trigun Stampede yet, either subbed or dubbed, be ready for episode 6. It gets really unnerving. I love it and I hate it at the same time. I love it for the aspects of having the character, some of the tragic aspects. It's actually one of the few episodes that actually has sequences that's not in 3D, and it actually looks kind of nice. It's basically a mixture of sad, and it has a mixture of creepy imagery, really things that just shook to the core of my being, and also a sequence that makes me going, what the hell am I watching? What the hell is this? Although again, this is episode 6. I basically was still coming off from episode 4, which also had a really tragic scene and disturbing imagery. And there basically a sequence where I just basically went like, what is this? Who is this? What's the deal with this Bane ass looking guy? Like, seriously, I actually needed to keep myself sane from having to watch this. But yeah, anyway, if you actually haven't watched Trigun Stampede, either subbed or dubbed, yeah, be ready for episode 6. The episode title is called Once Upon a Time in Hopeland, and yeah, honestly, I kind of put a good chunk, quite a few parts of that episode now occupying the unsettled to my core of my being mental jar. Or is it the shelf? No, it's a shelf. Yeah, it's a shelf. So, yeah, that now occupies that space. Thanks, Trigun Stampede! I'm gonna basically spoil a little bit of what part actually kind of lives in my brain rent free. But if future me ends up doing some editing on the VOD here, I'll probably throw up the image that kind of lives rent free in my brain. Right? Because honestly, I'll probably throw up images that live rent free in my brain anyway. Because, to actually get where I'm coming from here. But basically, for those of you who actually have seen Trigun Stampede or have actually watched and actually don't mind being spoiled, and I'm giving you a sec to leave. Alright, you muted? Okay, alright, I'll go right ahead. So, what basically, there's this whole sequence where Wolfwood basically ends up trying to break out of this facility, and he basically actually almost makes it out. His goal of wanting to actually escape to return to the orphanage that he basically was living in before he was taken. And he was leaping to try to leap through the window, but just as he was getting to reach there, his arm breaks, and he basically ends up causing his body to contort to basically where essentially he looks like that famous image of like Bane breaking Batman's back. I'm pretty sure some of you have seen that image of that comic panel. But yeah, think of that, but basically just on another level. If essentially kind of breaking his spine. It just basically kind of just looks like a circle. Almost looks kind of like a crescent upside down crescent. That basically shape, or at least somewhere along that lines. Because his arm basically breaking his arms, it looks like he kind of breaking his back, or drops him down to the ground. Honestly, it's just that image of basically the window and Wolfwood's like breaking contorted body. That just basically kind of just broke me. That just kind of just unnerved me to my core. And it's another aspect I was like, what the hell am I watching? I don't like this. I need an adult. So yeah, he's actually not dead. But basically, he's essentially having his bones break by essentially a character named Blue Summers, who is associated with knives. And honestly, episode 3 of Stampede kind of also deserves an honorable mention, though honestly, that one has a lot more sad moments than disturbing. Though a lot dealing with knives actually is really disturbing and kind of really creepy. Again, I personally have not watched the original Trigun anime outside of the first 4 episodes because I actually have a DVD with those first 4 episodes that I got as a gift for a long time ago. And I have not read the original manga either, so I don't know how big and different the narrative plotlines are between Trigun Stampede, the original Trigun manga, or the original Trigun anime. So I'm gonna actually look into the differences, though. So honestly, Once Upon a Time in Hopeland is really plot specific. Honestly, if I were talking about moments and parts that kind of live in my head rent free, honestly, the image of Wolfwood's like body basically essentially getting contorted with the background of basically the walls and the window that he was so close to actually getting through, and only to just be stopped by Blue Summers, who I think has like telekinetic or some gravitational like things, causing him basically to break his bones basically. Honestly, Blue Summers is actually kind of off-putting too, actually. Anyway, so other list here. There's an episode from Roseanne that actually had a really funny ending, where like the characters just pull out their hairs, revealing balds, and Roseanne is like, "Well, a bunch of bald people in my house," and she just grabs a thing of dynamite and she pushes the thing down and the whole house just blows up. Honestly, Roseanne episodes tend to get pretty funny. There is an episode from Everybody Loves Raymond that I was happy to see like a few nights ago. It's the episode where they're going trick-or-treating. Frank basically ends up running out of candy, so he ends up giving a bunch of kids condoms that Ray was actually planning on using that night. And it becomes a whole mess, basically, with Ray running after the one kid that he actually saw Frank give a condom to, and the condoms to get that back. What was it, Donna or Diane or whatever her name was? Basically having to call multiple parents of the kids that actually got given condoms because Frank thought they were chocolate coins. Yeah, honestly, that's hysterical. honestly, there's an episode of Home Improvement that I watched that involved like haunted house stuff that actually had a sudden surprise jump scare at the end credits. It's quick and it's mild and it just goes like an image that goes like boo, and that's it. Let's see, what time is it? Oh wait, oh it's almost 12:20. All right, I should probably wrap up the story time stream. Thank you for coming to the stream. I tried to salvage it as best I can, considering that RPG Maker games don't play nice if I'm running VTube Studio and OBS at the same time. I chickened out of Spooky, and Darkwood straight up crashed before I can even do anything. So I try to salvage it as best I can with little story times. So yeah, thanks for coming to this stream that I think I may or may not have fully salvaged. Sorry for the lack of games. This became more of a story time thing. Maybe I should do more story time stuff. I'll try to figure out some way to actually get some actual music here if I have to do this again, which I might end up having to if I can't do my little goody two shoes stream because it's also an RPG Maker game and we know that what happens. Anyway, so thanks for coming to the stream. Have a nice rest of your week. Have a really amazing Halloween. Hope you get some nice costumes, have some nice candy, have fun, and stay safe. Hope you watch some movies, including my recommendation of a So Bad It's Good movie with The Covenant 2006. So yeah, thanks for coming to the stream. Bye. Oh, actually, crap, forgot about the rest of the stuff. The usual end of stream deal. It's like 12:21. Anyway, on my main Twitch page and my Twitter, I actually have a link to my link tree that has all my links. The YouTube channel where I upload my VODs, the Twitter account, the Twitch channel itself, I think is there too. What else? If you want to support me financially, you can check out, because even though I work part-time, it's actually still would actually require, but living with part-time our time isn't easy. It's easy. So if you want, you can check out my Patreon or Coffee. You don't have to if you don't want to, but if you want to, check those out. They're in the link tree, which is linked with that same link tree. Link is on my Twitter, and my Twitch page. Follow my Twitter to stay up to date on whatever posts I make, as well as some other potentially miscellaneous things. Follow the YouTube channel for whenever I upload VODs. Whenever I start streaming, turn on make sure you have your Twitch notifications on so you'll be notified when I start. Have a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, and happy Halloween! Might as well say that now, because if I can't do the little goody two-shoes streams, it's gonna be awkward that I didn't say happy Halloween. Happy Halloween! Bye! Oh no. Ah! 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 Stop! Ah! 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 I think it stopped. Ah! Ah! I'm like, oh no, oh no, oh no, I think the omen's coming true.